Here we go. Let's get into Black Facts.
Well, I'm going to shift a little bit. I want to hear you guys' perspective on COVID-19 and how it's disproportionately affecting our communities.
Okay, I've seen this out here, like I said, in the South. Um, Many people, like I said, again, do not trust the system because it has done them wrong in so many different ways and so many different areas. And especially when the COVID-19 first came out, there were stories of it being tested in Africa first. And you saw the Africans saying, hey, don't use us as guinea pigs. And so, so you get people, we see this, and it was told to us out here in the South. I was traveling from Louisiana up to Mississippi, I mean, all around about. And that's all I heard. So there was this natural distrust of it. Um, I encourage people to get vaccinated. I had no problem with it. Again, I was in the Marines. I got vaccinated all the time. I was blessed to be able to do some missionary work over in Africa and over in South America, and I was able to preach over there. I got vaccinated, and I took my kids with me, and they got vaccinated. And I had to show a card showing that I got vaccinated before they let me on the plane. And when I was over there, God forbid you get sick, the US won't let you come back unless you are well. So the whole narrative that was being built around this whole thing of the vaccination being a bad thing and some mark of the beast type stuff, I thought was foolishness, but I did understand some of the fears. Myself, I had no fears. I got it, been vaccinated, happy with it. I walk around now with no mask. Everywhere I go, I do have one just in case someone says, hey, you put one on. I don't care. Hey, if you wear a mask, but I do wish that many of our people did get vaccinated. I am seeing many of our young people are getting vaccinated. We have a lot of kids at our house here, still from Rubidoux. They come here from Oakwood, and they're all vaccinated. So we're all able to come here, play a game night. We had one last night with the kids. So I just think, again, it's about communication. And we may have to change the narrative about the vaccine and just address and speak openly and honestly about some of the fears that they have, and just, confront them head on and say, what are you afraid of? Well, I'm afraid they're putting a chip into whatever. I said, well, that technology doesn't exist. I mean, really.
Well, I will say, as a, I think that this I would talk to my daughter about it, and I told her, and I was telling my wife, and especially when all this was happening, I was like, listen, if I have a choice between getting a vaccine and quote unquote getting a chip put in me or whatever, whatever that theory or conspiracy theory was, and being on a ventilator, I'm gonna choose that every day. And I don't want, and I was like, and if you can honestly say that you would feel the same way that you feel if you're on a ventilator, I mean, well, you would know you're on it, but I mean, you're in the hospital sick like that and not wish, oh, I wish I would have done something different, then okay. But most people would say that if they were in that situation, oh, I wish I would have. Well, if that's how if you know that that's what you're going to say, then get the vaccine. Do what you need to do. I think that also, and for our children in the school system that they go to is more conservative school. You have that conservative views coming out of the staff and the faculty there, which is influenced. My daughter, she's, I don't know if I want to take it, and I let her think that she knows she doesn't really kind of have a choice, really, but I let her think that she kind of does, and I'm giving her one, so I let her be able to express herself and stuff about it. But she one time she got sick, and she was all scared that she might have had it because she was around another senior, and she didn't want that senior to miss out on her graduation because she might have COVID and might have, obviously she came back, she was negative, but it was a scare. So I know now she's probably going to get that vaccine when it comes. She just doesn't like needles. So that's the main thing. But you know, I really think that we need to get past this whole mistrust. I do know that it's real. The Tuskegee and all that stuff is real. But then when you got to think about it, we've had vaccines forever. I mean, the polio, you know, the chicken pox, all those things were killing off folks when they first came in, and they had to add a vaccination. They even talked about, I forget what plague it was in the early 1900s that was killing off folks just like they were on TV. I mean, like we were seeing every day on TV, on CNN, all the other shows. The numbers don't lie. The numbers, the people were dying, and you can't, that's not gonna lie. That's real. So you can say what you want to say, market be, or whatever it is. The fact of the matter is people are dying, and you don't want to be part of that. And most of the people in their bubbles started to change their tune when people that were around them were starting to be affected by COVID. And I think that's, once again, the bubble thing plays a role. And we really need to stop thinking in such a box and have such limited, and just remember history, but don't just remember one piece of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The negative thing. I mean, we've had vaccines. We still got one, the flu vaccine. People, we have them. They're out there. You know what I'm saying? If they wanted to stick us up with something, they could do that.
It would have been done a long time ago.
Yes, you go to the doctor's office and get stuck up with something. So
yes.
Yeah, we need to get past that. We sound uneducated sometimes when we say stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I was telling some of the young folk, or actually some of the older folk, I said, with this COVID-19, you don't know how it's going to hit you. Like I caught COVID, and I spent 10 days in a hotel room away from my family and away from work, and going through the pain of that, you know, just the physical pain, but it wasn't heavy on me. But I have friends who passed away. I know a guy who was more fit than I was, running marathons, and now he needs a lung transplant. So you don't know how it's going to hit you, you know. So I just say, you know, don't take that chance. There's no need to. And I love what Lamont was saying, that whole conservative slant to it. And some of you know me on my Bible study things, but there's a whole theology behind that thinking, that conservative thinking. There's a whole biblical theology that they have that they try to use to justify not getting vaccines. And I think it's horrible.
Yeah, I think, but I also, you know, without us getting too deep into it, we also got to remember that whole biblical aspect of it, you know, the history of that too.
Yes.
A lot of individuals use that as a means of controlling people. They use the Bible, they've used doctrine, they've used all that stuff as a means of controlling the masses to do what they want them to do. So I just really think that we need to think bigger and stop thinking in compartments and thinking within our little bubble and boxes, and just be more broad in our thoughts, and not narrow-minded. So I think that's the main thing. And we'll say also about the COVID thing, because we are talking about the health, but I really noticed with all the shootings, with all the people not, you know, people need people. We need to be social. We're social beings. And what I've learned about this COVID environment, it was very difficult for my wife and my daughter. But you can imagine those who already have some type of issues, mental issues, and not being around people, and being alone with your thoughts. And, you know, so you had suicide, you had mass murders, you're having all those things now that are really they're all there, but they're really kind of coming out, they're surfacing now. And I think that for our Black community, is probably doing the same thing. You know, our men no longer have other men to bounce things off of, or maybe, you know, to talk to, or we don't have that, because you're separate. You're separating yourself from people, and it's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah, like you both mentioned, we have to make sure that we're mentally healthy and emotionally healthy as well. COVID, yeah, COVID has done, I think, a number on all communities of color. From the work that I do, I've heard from all communities of color how they've been affected, and specifically, like I said, I know how hard it's hit the Black community. I'm so thankful that you guys, you share the different perspectives about, why people may or may not want to, get vaccinated, and your perspective on why you think it's important for us to get vaccinated. And like you were saying, Travis, opening up our minds. My whole platform and my whole the work I do on a daily basis is basically trying to educate, educate people so they can make an informed decision. I never go out and say, get vaccinated. I got vaccinated. That's the right thing to do. I try to present them with all of the information. And like you said, Rodney, when they come up with certain theories or whatever, I challenge that. I ask them questions. Well, where did you get that from? Where did you hear that from? Everything you see on Facebook, is it, or whatever you Googled. So I really try to challenge them and have a conversation and a dialogue to get to the root of, are they just repeating something that they've heard or they've seen on, television, or is that really a core belief of theirs? And I find that most of the time when people really do kind of open themselves up and start to learn and understand, for themselves, then they end up making the right, what I feel is the right decision. So I appreciate you both sharing, your perspectives and how your thoughts on COVID. So I also want to talk to you guys about, so now we know that what caused you to kind of make lifestyle changes so that you can live healthier. So can you talk to me a little bit about what exactly are you doing? You mentioned being physically fit. You mentioned, making sure you were mentally well. What specifically are you guys doing to, sustain what you've already started and to make sure that you continue to be healthy moving forward?
Well, I'll go ahead and what I'm doing. I walk. I walk every, one of out of those classes, they say just, to be active.
Yeah.
And you don't have to exert a whole, lot of some blood and sweat or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's a sweat equity, but you just want to be active and be consistent. And so what I try to do is every morning I walk at least 1.5 miles. If I can. On the weekends, I'll walk. Like yesterday, I walked 6 miles, and I try and mix it up. And I do that not just so, I'm physically being active and moving my body and so on and so forth. But again, it also is a matter of getting out of the house after being cooped up in the house for so long, couldn't go anywhere. Now you're able to go and be out and about amongst people to some degree. And so I do it for those reasons. I'm moving towards weight. I used to lift weights really heavy, when I was a lot younger. Now I'm going to buy some weight sets because I canceled my gym thing because of the COVID. So I'm not going to get that again. I'm used to getting that money back. So anyway, not spending that money. So I'm going to go ahead and get me some weights and stuff, and I'll get back to it. But it won't be heavy stuff. It'll just be stuff to keep me lean and tight. But because like Rodney says, when you're running or walking, you'll burn for that moment that you're running and walking. As soon as you're done, you're no longer burning anything. But when you're working out and using weights, or you're using your body as resistance and stuff like that, you're just developing your muscles, and your muscles after you stop are still burning and developing, and hence they're burning the fat. So that's, I think, a combination of both of those things are what's important, and as well as your diet, and that's just proportions. Watch the portions, and then that goes a long way. We tend to, especially poor folk like I was, and my mom would make a whole bunch of food, and you don't waste your food. That's another cultural thing. Don't waste that food, boy. We ain't got no money. You waste that, so you eat everything on your plate. Nah, I don't do that no more. My stomach won't let me. So, and I think that's the lifestyle change that those doctors have been trying to get us to understand is watch your portions. You don't have to eat everything on your plate, and stay active.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, and I would suggest weights are good, but if you want to, you can use bands as well. So that's a good alternative, just to let you know. It's a cheaper alternative. What I've done, I do a number of things. First, I was concentrating on weight loss and then fat loss. I'm down to a good weight that I like, so I don't want to lose a lot of weight. I just want to get a little more definition to kind of, round things up. So what I do is I do resistance training. I do go to the gym out here. I go to the gym twice a week, and then I work out in my truck or in front of my truck at least another twice or 2 times that week as well. So about 4 times a week I'm working out. In the gym, of course, I'm working out a little heavier, but when I'm in the truck, then there are light workouts, and I use my bands, and I also do jump rope as well. That takes the place of my cardio. Out here, it's raining outside right now, but it's about 80 degrees. So you're exercising inside.
Mhm.
And other thing I do as far as food is concerned, I love what Lamont said when it comes to portions. I do eat smaller portions because I'm driving. I have a sedentary type job. I only eat 2 meals per day,
Mhm.
but I will eat a snack maybe twice a day. That snack is popcorn.
Mhm.
I don't eat potato chips and all those other things. When it comes to water, um, water does get old, so I have water that's flavored.
Mhm.
Nothing with aspartame in it or anything like that. Stay away from that. But just that carbonated water, mineral water is great as well. I don't guzzle that down. You read Spirit of Prophecy about the correct use of water. It's important to have water, but you don't have to. I learned this, of course, and I think Michelle, you know this as well. The lighter your urine is, the better off you are. But what I was doing, the wrong use of water, what Rodney was doing, I was just guzzling water left and right. And I was going to the restroom all the time, and my urine was clear. And I found out, oh, I'm overhydrated, and I still had the water weight all over the body. So I had to
Mhm.
adjust that. See, so I'm learning. So I kept learning. So, and when it comes to eating food, I do eat at a caloric deficit or at my maintenance weight. I think I'm at 2,100 calories that I need to maintain my weight for what I do. So I eat at 21 or below. I never go above that. And that ensures that I kind of keep what I have. Now, do I mess that up sometimes? Yes. Uh, you guys remember Leroy from church, right? You
Mhm.
guys, Leroy Peters. He makes cheesecakes now.
Oh,
They
really?
are oh. So I was his best customer. So I said, okay, Leroy, I love you, man, but I gotta leave your cheesecake alone. Oh, oh. Anyway, get off that because I
Weakness.
don't want y'all going to buy some cheesecake now. But I say all that to say this, I do what I do so that when I do go out and I see something, I can eat it.
Right.
It doesn't bother me. So those are the things I do: correct exercise, a correct diet, and I make sure I get enough sleep
Yeah.
because your body will repair itself, and you will
Yeah.
gain muscle as you sleep. And you can also, like Lamont says, you can burn calories while you sleep. So I put on the muscle, and I'm getting older. I'm a lot older than both of you. So I know that the older you get, the more you lose muscle mass for
Mhm.
men. So I have to keep training to keep up, keep ahead of the losing game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. And it
Yeah.
seems to work for me. I'm still at, my 180. I like that. I might get to 178, something like that. But between 175 and 180, I don't care if I fluctuate between that. I don't care, but I don't want to get below that. So I try to do those things for that target goal.
And it's great because I was going to jump in real quick and say that bodies, my body, people say, and when I tell them I was 392, they were like, wow, you were a big guy, but I didn't think you was that big. I mean, it just you look at, so where Ronnie's saying 180, and really, and you go by these scales and stuff that they say you should be at a certain height. You can't go by that, because when I was in the military, I was in the Army, and I never was 180 or 185. My weight was in the military was between 205 to 215. And I realized that I could probably maintain 225, between 225 and 230 as a civilian, right? Because I'm your makeup, your DNA is your body makeup is just different. So the one thing that I did want to say, and I think Rodney can attest to this because he was in the military, is that, and listening to him and what the military used to do is that you would get your sleep. I mean, you would be able to get some sleep because you'd be moving all day. You would be tired when it's time to go to bed. It was time to go to bed. You went to sleep. You hit the rack. But when you worked out, it was 3 days. When you ran 3 days of our PT was running. So Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays was runs. Tuesdays and Thursdays when you did, resistance training. So, and then you would eat proportionally. You go to the cafeteria, you're not chowing, you're not doing that. So it's really that same lifestyle that we've had in the military to some variance. You know what I mean? It's really the same. You do your workout in much the same way. A lot of some of the resistance that we do, but it doesn't have to be every single day. You get burnt out.
It can't be.
You get burnt out. So you mix it up, and that's what they do in the military is they mix it up, and you'll do something different on Tuesdays and Thursdays when you're doing your PT. So it's interesting to hear him say that about his workout regimen. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So
And
I would like to ask. Oh,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
that's
Go ahead.
okay. I would like to ask you both, what advice would you give to other brothers out there that I would say are in your old shoes that, they're still like, well, I don't like what I see in the mirror. I may have developed, hypertension or whatever, but they're still just not in that space where they feel like they can make a change. They're still kind of stuck. What advice would you give them to, allow them to understand that they too can, they can move in this direction that you've found yourself in and start making healthier and wiser decisions for their health?
Yeah, here's my thing, and I heard Lamont say this, and I'm gonna echo the same thing. I did it for my kids. You have to find your why, and that's with anything in life. Whatever you want to do in life, you have to find your why. My kids are active. My son just went swimming with some sharks the other week. This past week they went to. The past week they were over doing.
Y'all have to swim shark.
And they're telling me, Dad, you gotta come. So I'm at the age now where my kids like to do things with me, and I'm grateful for that. They like to hang out with me, and they include me on things. And a lot of those things are physical. So when we're climbing these big mountains that my son likes to go up and down, and we go fishing all the time, some of those are physically challenging, but I'm able to do those things because I do those things because I want to be there for him and be there for her. And I don't want my wife to have to take care of me. She takes care of her father, double amputee. He's here. We love him. He's at the house. She takes care of him full time. And I see the things she has to go through to take care of him. And I just decided, I said, I don't want that for her. And I don't want that for my children. Because at one point in my life, I used to sell insurance, and we used to sell long-term and short-term insurance. And some of those things come into play. You're telling people, listen, do you want your kid to bathe you? Do you want your kid to change your diaper if that's going to be the case? And I didn't want any of those. So the advice I give to people in my age, like I said, I'm older than you two young folk, do it for your kids. Do it for your loved ones. Take care of yourself so they won't have to. You don't want to be a burden to them. And also, when it comes to working out, I'll just say this one last thing too. For you older guys like me, listen, when you're working out, you see these young guys jumping up around and doing all that stuff. No. Don't do what these young people do. Let them jump up and down and do all these.
That's going to catch you.
I don't do any of that stuff. My cardio is very low because I know cardio is good for the heart. Cardio is not going to really help you lose weight per se. Resistance training really does that. But it's good for the heart. So I do it just moderately. I have a 3-pound jump rope, a 3-pound jump rope. Do a few
That's
sessions of those, get your heart going.
heavy.
I'm good. So I just tell folks, if you want to lose weight, find your why and make that why the reason that's going to get you up in the morning or in the evening to get to the gym or to go out walking or to lift that weight. Because without that why, you're gonna find excuses why not to. Why? Oh, I'm just gonna eat these potato chips, or I'm gonna drink that soda. And I love soda. I love soda. Don't
It's
drink
the
it.
sugar.
Don't drink juices. Oh, can I want you? Don't drink orange juice. Orange juice is not good for you. Eat the orange. Nobody eats 5 oranges at one sitting. You might eat 1 or 2. When you drink orange juice, you're getting all that stuff stripped out of it and all the things that they have to keep it to maintain the preservatives. Orange juice is the worst thing you could do for your diet. And if you're giving it to your kids, you give them that sugar rush when they leave the house around 11, 12 o'clock. They come down for that sugar rush again. They have a hard time in school. They go out, eat, and they drink some more stuff, and they're back on that sugar high. And now you know why we're addicted. So that's one of the worst things that you could put in your body.
And I will also say, you stepped on my toes, Rodney. But I tell you that, and I think that that's good because it's a journey. I mean, you're still learning. I'm still learning, and my Achilles is juice. It's always been. I wasn't the biggest soda drinker. It was the juice, and I still do it. I can't do it like I used to, but I still do it. And the one thing about this surgery is that you can stretch your stomach out. You can get back to that same weight. It's not a permanent fix. You still gonna have to do that lifestyle change. And I agree with Rodney when he's saying you have to have your why, and it does move into every aspect of your life, not just this topic that we're talking about. You need to have a why when you do something. But I think you also need to listen to your body. Your body's already, if I'm talking to someone, and thank you, Rodney. I mean, it's nice to be 50 years old and still be a young person in someone's eyes, because 50 years old, I never thought 50 was gonna be young. You know what I mean? Anybody, but that's fine. I'm good with it. But no, when you get a certain age, when you're young, you ignore certain things, you recover, and so on and so forth. But I tell you, when you need to really start listening to your body is when you do work out, right? And you are sore. That means it's time for you. Your body is like, listen, we're hitting another stage now, and you need to start paying attention to me. You need to start paying attention to what you put inside me. Yes. You need to start paying attention to the stress that you put me through, because my recovery from it is not going to be the same as it was when I was in my teens or in my 20s. So you need to start listening to your body and have that why, because your body's telling you, and you can't ignore your body. It's telling you. So if you have your why, and that why could be whatever it is. For us, it was our children. But you, at the very least, listen to your body. It's telling you, just like your car. Your car is going to tell you when it's time for maintenance. Your body's going to do the same.
Well, both of you gentlemen, I so appreciate you accepting the invitation to be on Black Facts and sharing, your perspectives and just your journeys and your stories about your health. I hope that, and I know that it's going to be inspiring to those that are viewing this episode. And I just thank you once again for your willingness to come on and talk about Black men's health.
Thanks for having us on the show. Appreciate it.
You are awesome, Michelle. I'm telling you right now. I want to be like you.
Oh. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Black women making things happen. We need to do our part too, brothers. We need to catch up. And I will, and really real quick, let me say this, okay? One of the other things that is really, really important that men do not do, that women do, which is, I think, why they outlive us, is they do take time for self-care.
Yes.
They will go out on, they will go on a vacation. They can be by themselves. They will go and do something as I know, Michelle. They'll do something as a group or by themselves. Men do not do that. We don't do that. We don't go do most men. I mean, on a regular basis, we're not known for that.
Right.
You know, when you're in college or something, you do a road trip to go check out some girls and go to Freaknik or whatever it is you would do back in the day. But as you get older, you know, we don't do that. Whereas women, as they get older, they make that more of a priority. And I think that that's another thing that Black men need to take into consideration when we're talking about our physical and mental health.
I got a pedicure for the first time just a few months ago, and I was like, where was this all my life? I did not know this was so great. I was sitting there with my kids. We had our mask on, and the lady was doing my beard. I said, this is wonderful. And I've been 3 times since. I said, wow. And so you're right. You are so right. You know, we got to
we've been missing out. You know what I'm saying? Go and get you a massage somewhere. Let's about rub on your back a little bit. Rub on your do something. You know what I mean? Go out and go to the beach and walk on the beach. Do something, because the sisters are doing it, and we really need to take that time for ourselves as well, because the world's on our back. You know what I mean? The Black Lives Matter movement tells you, and then some. You know, in the recent case, they on our necks. So keep it real. We need to go out and take care of ourselves and do some things for ourselves, men. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, and thank you so much for sharing that and bringing that up, because it is vital and it's very important that we take care of, and that goes along with our mental health. You know, we gotta go in and take care of us and do things that are enjoyable and you know, rejuvenating for our own spirits and well-being. So thank you again. Thank you both for being on. I really appreciate it. And I may have you on for a future episode to talk about some other things. So thank you. My desire is that this episode of Black Men's Health motivates my Black male colleagues, friends, my father, my uncles, my cousins, and other family members. I want you to understand that your health matters. It matters to your family, and it matters to the community at large. I want to thank all of you for tuning in for another episode of Black Facts. Together we can and we will improve our own health outcomes and that of our community for future generations. Please, please, please make sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube, on Black Voice News' YouTube channel, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And come back and join us for another engaging conversation so you can know the facts. Take care.